It broke barriers as it built a new world.
It was absolutely a leap of faith because nobody had done it before.
And went head-to-head with the most successful game of its kind.
It actually scared us too, because we're thinking, oh, there's probably going to be room for one and that's it.
Building this brave new world wasn't easy.
I don't know. If I hadn't seen the game from the beginning, I probably would have been pretty skeptical.
Yet the results were breathtaking.
In a way, it's like our world, except it's in a fantasy setting.
Real-life relationships began forming.
You make friends in this game, and these are friends that you keep for a long time.
And make-believe characters came to life.
A mother sent in a picture of her daughter and said, my daughter looks exactly like this. You've got to use her.
But the extreme dedication of some players caused controversy.
I know for myself at one point, I just actually had to stop the addiction and get out of it so I could keep my life and keep my sanity.
This is the amazing story of EverQuest.
It just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
By the mid-1990s, a Sony product development group, now known as Sony Online Entertainment, has achieved success on the PlayStation platform with NFL Game Day, Twisted Metal, and Jet Moto. But a Sony employee named John Smedley wants to try taking games in a new direction.
It was something that I felt very strongly about. I really believed in online gaming from the start. I was playing a game called Cyber Strike at the time from a company called Simitronics and just fell in love with it.
His love for online games takes a personal toll.
I was just married at the time. My wife was killing me. We were getting $600 a month bills, and she just wanted to kill me for this because it was hourly pay-for-play on Genie back in those days. And what happened was, as I fell in love with internet gaming, I more and more wanted to see my tabletop Dungeons and Dragons days from high school kind of become a reality.
Smedley approaches his boss at Sony. He wants to create an online fantasy world unlike any other. A game that can only be played by subscription.
Actually, at that time, my old boss, Kelly Flock, back in '97 when I first hit him up with this idea, he was really supportive of it. And it's not very often that you find a company that's willing to take a risk, a real flyer. Because we're talking about days when there was no real pay-for-play business. It was limited to people like me that were willing to pay for it.
It was absolutely a leap of faith because nobody had done it before. And as much as everybody might believe that, well, yeah, of course people will pay $10 a month to play this game. Whether they actually will or not, you rely so heavily then on the content of the game, aside from anything else, that core game quality has to be there.
Back in March of '97, I hired Brad McQuaid and Steve Clover. It's kind of a funny story. I was browsing the web looking for programmers, and I was looking through shareware games because I had in my head that I wanted to get an online role-playing game going. Honestly, it was no more than an idea, and I was fortunate enough to run across Brad McQuaid and Steve Clover.
He came out with the idea of putting this stuff together and got together with Brad McQuaid, who was designing this project. And they said in the early days when still internet gaming was kind of a buzz, but it really wasn't, nobody was convinced at this point.
Work on the new game continues, but in September 1997, Ultima Online, the first commercial online game, is released by Origin. How would this affect Sony's ambitious project?
I think that may have been either the first E3 or the last CES. We actually heard about Ultima Online at that time. It's an amazing looking game, and we were like, oh wow, this is cool. Now we'll have an example of something that's going to be fun to play.
Ultima Online really did pave the way for it in its graphical sense and bringing this a fantasy world to life in a real strong graphical sense. Before Ultima Online, it was all text-based.
We had no idea if it'd be a commercial success or not. I mean, certainly we all played the Ultimas growing up, and knowing that it had that brand behind it actually scared us too, because we're thinking, oh, there's probably going to be room for one and that's it.
Ultima Online soon has more than 90,000 players, but Sony is planning a response of their own.
Yeah,
It's me. We need you. Now.
I'm on it.
I'm in. Hold. Action.
Making movies, TV shows, documentaries can be really fun. You could be part of the crew behind the scenes with your degree in film and video production from Collins College. From screenwriting to audio recording and editing, get the skills you need to start your career in this exciting field. Imagine working with other creatives on projects that can be seen by millions of people. Find out more by calling Collins College. Ask for this brochure. Call 1-888-823-0999.
Where would I hide if the zombies attacked? Have to say in the middle of the Republican convention. Think about it. No brains for the zombies to eat.
I'd probably hide in my basement and suck my thumb.
I wouldn't. I got these two babies right here. I cut off their heads and they're done.
The chemistry was incredible.
The attraction was there.
We just sort of clicked. And I said, there is definitely something here.
It was pretty electrifying.
When two soulmates meet for the first time, it's a powerful experience.
It's like fireworks.
Why not start this new year off right? Log on to eharmony.com during our free communication weekend this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can communicate with other eHarmony singles absolutely free.
So our first date, it went so well.
We talked for hours.
It was just an emotional connection that I had never felt with somebody in such a short period of time.
Talked for hours. Our waiter, he was like,
She was sweeping the floor next to us. She was trying to get us out of there.
Make this the year that it happens for you. Log on to eHarmony.com today and communicate with eHarmony singles absolutely free during our free communication weekend this Thursday through Sunday only. There's never been a better time to try eHarmony.
G4 is like being visited by a video game goddess who plugs you into all sorts of digital goodness. You know, basically.
Ultima Online is a hit for Electronic Arts, but Sony responds with an online game of its own. In spring 1998, Tannerus, Sony's first online subscription game, is released to test the online waters.
It was quickly cobbled together just to demonstrate to the higher-ups that John's vision was going to work and that the engine that we had acquired from Pyrotechnics was going to be functional.
It's a lot of fun. And we built an internet game that really became kind of the cornerstone of our entire online gaming experience.
By the spring of 1998, the video game world is entranced by Ultima Online.
Ultima had the benefit of its cachet as a world. The Britannia world that Richard Garriott had built was something that a lot of fans in the game industry had really already tapped into.
We were able to watch this thing launch and become a success, and it really took on a life of its own, and then we knew we had something at that point.
Yet Sony sees an opportunity to build on their competitors' success.
Ultima Online served a very specific audience. They had, it was a great game, but it also had some small negatives that not everybody was into it.
Sony Online Entertainment has already begun work on a game that will challenge the authority of Ultima Online. A game that will become a lifestyle for enthusiasts worldwide. This massively multiplayer online role-playing game is dubbed
EverQuest.
The MMORPG will be set in a breathtaking 3D fantasy world that never shuts down.
We'd never done this before. Canvas was our only experience, and it was very limited compared to the scope of an EverQuest. So it was just a lot of trial by fire and trial by error.
It was a major risk, there's no doubt. There had never been even an attempt to do a game like this, which is a true 3D engine, massively multiplayer, persistent world, online role-playing game.
Players can assume characters of many different types. The game features 12 races, including humans, gnomes, elves, and other classic fantasy creatures.
You can go into it, adopt a new identity. You can be whoever you want to be.
The connection with your character that you created was immediate, that you could really start building up and exploring, and people struggled through the hard times because at the core this was new, this was just a lot of fun.
The online world of EverQuest is called Norrath. From a first or third-person perspective, players can explore continents.
In a way, it's like our world, except it's in a fantasy setting. It has an economy. It has a social structure.
Within Norrath, players traverse many different zones. And pool resources in quests for distant treasures. The global environment and the artistic results are astonishing.
EverQuest is all about people interacting with other people. Their experience just fighting monsters, that's fun. It's when they start getting their friends involved, that's when something just seems to click, because you're working towards a common goal.
A lot of people in the hardcore that started with the game had probably come to this because it was sort of Dungeons & Dragons style experience that they'd had on the tabletop, now visualized. You get the magic through the fact that it's suddenly real, it's suddenly more diverse, and it's suddenly interactive.
You're fighting a monster, and a friend of yours joins in. And all of a sudden, you've got somebody you know, and maybe they've invited somebody else to join your group, and now you've got 3 people, and all of a sudden you're introduced to this new person. It just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, you just get this huge network of people that you meet, and I think that's the magic.
Yet one of the game's most unique aspects causes concern. In Ultima Online, players often kill or PK fellow players for sport.
So with EverQuest, they decided to go with player versus environment rather than player versus player.
So a concession is made.
The hardcore player versus player people were really upset because they wanted to show that they're the best player, we had the best skills, and the way to prove that is against another player and not against an artificial intelligence. So we also included some servers where it is player versus player, where you can actually kill another player in the game.
EverQuest is making headway, but will people actually pay a monthly fee to play it?
This is the world's most advanced outboard, with more torque and more horsepower than the competition, plus better fuel economy. Evinrude E-Tech.
When I put the E-Tech on, I doubled my gas mileage.
Fuel economy of the E-Techs and the price of fuel just make them very economical.
E-Tech's fuel economy is bar none the best.
The E-Tech today is the best outboard out there.
Evinrude E-Techs, the most durable, reliable outboards ever made. Call or go online now and get an extended factory-backed limited warranty, plus 6.99% financing on engines or new boat packages, and for a limited time, up to $500 in gas. Call and get the most talked about DVD in the boating world and see why Evinrude E-Techs outperform the competition in power, performance, reliability, cost of ownership, and more. Evinrude E-Tech. Spend more time on the water.
Attention drivers statewide. If you are insured with Allstate, Geico, State Farm, or any other car insurer, you may be overpaying by hundreds of dollars. Find out how to get immediate savings through AIGdirect.com. What would it take to get you to switch your car insurance? If we told you that you could save $364 a year, wouldn't you pick up the phone? Start dialing, because you could save that much. People who switched from Geico saved around $370. From Allstate, $430. Your savings could be higher, like this driver who switched, or this one. And no other company gives you AIG Security Advantage that includes roadside assistance at no additional cost. Immediate savings available through AIGdirect.com. Call for a free rate quote today. Call 1-800-709-7912 for a free rate quote. You could save hundreds of dollars. That number again is 1-800-709-7912. Call now or visit AIGdirect.com.
G4 is like an under-the-bed dwelling troll who mesmerizes you with his glowing chest full of all the fun stuff you're into. And he can help you out with the ladies. He's good with the ladies. Anyhow, G4 is like that, more or less.
Personalize your life with skinit.com. Choose your device, select a skin, stick it on, change it out, create your own. Laptops, cell phones, MP3 players, gaming devices, any device, anytime. Go to skinit.com. Express yourself. Any skin, any device, any lifestyle. What's your skin? Sports, collegiate, entertainment, fashion, and more. Go to skinit.com today.
EverQuest is quickly coming together. But the big question on Sony's mind is if gamers will be willing to pay a monthly fee to log on to their new virtual world.
We have these project review meetings, and all the other producers would show these PlayStation games that are going to sell 1 million units. NFL Game Day, 1 million units. And here we are showing our PC stuff. How many is this going to sell? Well, we think it might sell 70,000 units over 2 years.
I don't know. I myself, if I hadn't seen the game from the beginning, I probably would have been pretty skeptical.
And then all of a sudden, some of those producers internally started playing the game, and then they got it. It's just one of this big ball of energy that kind of sucks people in.
Yet, is it good enough to impress the press?
When EverQuest launched, they were fighting the Ultima name, and they were also fighting the Lord British name. It had some celebrity behind it. So that was a tough road to hoe.
I remember hauling these big computers up to Computer Gaming World and literally kind of getting these almost not blank stares, but sort of like they didn't know quite what to make of us yet.
I actually saw the game well before release when John Smedley and Brad McQuaid came in and said, we've got this game and it's going to be massively multiplayer and it's an RPG.
There was a lot of nervousness about it, but I remember I was working at PC Accelerator at the time, and we first got our builds of EverQuest in, and all of a sudden, we just got sucked into it.
EverQuest officially launches in March 1999, and it hits the gaming world like a freight train. After only 2 months on the market, more than 100,000 copies of the game are sold. And each night, more than 30,000 people enter the enthralling zones of EverQuest.
When it first launched, it was a real test because, nobody had done this before. And Ultima Online had already come out and set an example and a standard. There was a feeling for a while that between Ultima Online and EverQuest and Asheron's Call, the market was somewhat saturated. But with each additional game that's come into the market, it has expanded the base.
When we launched the product in early 1999, we had roughly 50,000 subscribers within a 2 or 3 month period.
EverQuest players are supported by a team of game masters who are based in the company's headquarters in San Diego, California.
We'll doggedly go after a problem until we solve it. One of our employees will spend half a day, if necessary, with one single customer to resolve a situation if necessary.
Fans go crazy for this brand new fantasy world. During peak periods, there are up to 37,000 players online simultaneously. From countries as far-flung as Zimbabwe and New Zealand.
People operate in their mundane world, and then EverQuest allows them to operate in a fantasy world where they can do fantastic things.
Our typical player plays 20 hours a week, which is a lot. And the ramp-up curve that we see on this game is absolutely amazing. It goes from, a couple hours a week to all of a sudden they just go right up to our average. And in some cases, a lot more than that.
It's nuts. They are absolutely intense. It is amazing, but I think it comes out of the fact that they have dedicated so much of their time and often taken over their lives to this.
Given the strongly addictive nature of EverQuest, the gaming press and online community jokingly nicknamed the game EverQuest.
I know for myself at one point, I just actually had to stop the addiction and get out of it, so I could keep my life and keep my sanity.
I would say that people devote like 38 hours of their week to TV. Is that bad? Yes, I think I'm proof of that. Do people devote too much of their days to this? I think that's a personal choice. It's about what people want to do with their free time.
EverQuest really just became a phenomenon because it empowers people to communicate online. The kind of catchphrase that we like to use, we're forming global gaming community.
You make friends in this game, and these are friends that you keep for a long time.
It's great to have all you guys here. It's about time we got here, huh?
And what better place to meet than at EverQuest fan fairs?
We host a quarterly fan fair, which is a national traveling EverQuest get-together. They come primarily because they want to meet their online counterparts face-to-face.
Fantasy begins merging with reality.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, how cool is that? I think I must have bought every single TV guide in our local grocery store.
And the cover girl becomes a real-life woman.
Our artist Keith Parkinson painted the first EverQuest, and the high elf Furiona V that's on the cover of the first box, a mother sent in a picture of her daughter and said, "My daughter looks exactly like this. Gotta use her." And Keith started using her as a model for the future ones. In fact, if you look closely, the difference between the first box and the second, it goes from looking like this kind of generic high elf to Denise.
Within months of its launch, EverQuest outpaces Ultima Online, its biggest competitor. But can it survive newer, tougher competition?
Video games are evolving, and now so are we. Introducing the all-new X-Play, January 14th only on G4.
A J.G. Wentworth success story, Frank and the Structured Settlement.
Well, I had a nasty car accident, and following my lawsuit, I ended up receiving a structured settlement.
Frank had a long payout with a small check each month.
Well, it wasn't long before bills started to pile up. Credit cards,
mortgage, utilities, car payments.
It didn't seem right. It was my money.
Frank turned to J.G. Wentworth.
Well, he told me they help people get cash for their structured settlements and annuities.
If you have a structured settlement or annuity and you need cash now, call J.G. Wentworth. You'll get a free appraisal and we'll answer all your questions. Don't wait any longer. The call is free and there's no obligation.
My advice is call J.G. Wentworth. They helped me, and they made it easy.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth.
Call 866-494-3717, 866-494-3717.
We'd love to show you the world's next great video game. There's only one problem. You haven't created it yet. You've played them, now you can make them. With DeVry's new bachelor's degree program in game and simulation programming. It's classrooms and labs where you actually create video games. Games like you'll find when you log on now. You'll learn more about this exciting degree program and get free video game demos from Vivendi Games. It's time to take it to the next level. You can earn a 4-year degree in less than 3 with classes that start right away. And since it's DeVry, you know you'll get this and even more of this. Call or log on for your free video game demos. But do it now, because when you're a gamer, you know what happens when you stand still. So call or log on for your free video game demos. It's right now, and it's here at DeVry.
In the cage, there are 8 sides to every story, and we're going to tell all of them.
There's enough fun and games in there.
Spend 8 hours with World Extreme Cage Fighting's best.
When I step in there, it's game time.
Faber, McCullough, Condit, Marshall, Pulver, Philo, and BB. It's a long night in the cage, but we're sure you won't tap out.
When I step in there, you gotta kill me.
The World Extreme Cage Fighting Marathon. Tonight, 5 Eastern, on Versus.
G4 presents CES 08 Live, the biggest technology trade show on Earth. We'll help you navigate the nearly 2 million square feet of tech innovations in a special 2-day live event. Get your first look at what you'll be clicking, watching, browsing, and driving in the tech world of tomorrow. CES 08 Live, January 7th and 8th at 7, only on G4.
EverQuest continues to rule the online gaming world. But Sony's most difficult challenge is figuring out how to keep the success going.
And the point then becomes not what they actually did, but how you actually manage that going forward.
Over the next 5 years, Sony releases 9 expansion packs for EverQuest. And in 2004, EverQuest II hits the net.
Obviously, the influence of EverQuest I on EverQuest II is dramatic. It is a sequel. But at the same time, we really started from ground zero and designed all new systems using the EverQuest background, but making new choices based on the experiences that we've had running EverQuest.
What they really tried to do with EverQuest II was, one, make the graphics much, much better than they were in the first one. Graphically, it was just leaps and bounds beyond the first in the series. Also, one of the other things that they added was they made sure that every person spoke.
Hail to you, fair adventurer.
Every NPC that you came across had lines that were recorded.
I know it may not look like much right now, but...
EverQuest games also make their way to home consoles, such as the PlayStation 2.
We also have EverQuest Online Adventures. We have different fans, and we can't just make this a cookie-cutter, kind of experience.
Today, EverQuest is facing its biggest challenge yet. Games like World of Warcraft and Guild Wars are making huge strides in the world of massively multiplayer online gaming. And they're beginning to outshadow the game that helped start it all.
The massively multiplayer market has definitely diversified since the days of EverQuest and Ultima Online. Now we've got City of Heroes, which is a superhero-themed massively multiplayer game. There's Guild Wars, which is a fantasy-based game, but it doesn't have a subscription fee. Star Wars Galaxies is set in the Star Wars universe. It's able to get the sci-fi Star Wars geek crowd in. It's a huge space now.
I really feel that EverQuest has since been surpassed by games that have taken that core idea and used superior technology and superior graphics and superior design to take it to the next level.
EverQuest and Sony Online was a victim of their own success with EverQuest.
I personally know many, many players. They all defected to World of Warcraft because they saw that it was the superior product.
Is there room for everyone? I think just like any other market, the consumer's going to end up telling us who the winners are. And that's the way it should be.
But as fans like to say, there will always be EverQuest.
The original EverQuest certainly takes almost all the credit, or some might say the blame, for creating the MMO RPG genre. That whole genre is obviously a completely socially malignant genre. It's destroyed lives, destroyed relationships, because they're so addictive.
It will live on as long as it's financially reasonable to do so, and I think that's going to be for some time to come.
Unfortunately, EverQuest II hasn't even been able to match what the original EverQuest has done. And of course, the original EverQuest is still going strong.
EverQuest isn't going away anytime soon.
EverQuest is going to be remembered for being the first one that really established the massively multiplayer game as a exciting new genre.
EverQuest has broken records worldwide, but it has also done something more important. It has formed friendships worldwide. Friendships that transcend the game.
There's a whole
social world that you enter into that is so unlike any other game that's come before that I think it really takes gaming in many ways to the next level.
To me, if people have made friends because of EverQuest and it's become kind of a part of their lives as they go about their everyday lives, if we can be a part of that, I'm really happy, and I hope that that's something that we can continue to do and make people feel good about.
It's a legend of heroes.